access to my work phone. Also, please ignore my hair. I'm currently, it's Tuesday for me, when I'm recording this, and this is my week of work. So I have just been slobbing around. So, to be clear, it is not because I have something to hide. I am a physician in a hospital setting, and as part of my position, I have a work phone. My email can have patient information that is subject to HIPAA, and therefore it is passcoded. Not only do I take HIPAA seriously, but I am literally on the advisory committee at the hospital that helps to investigate HIPAA violations, so I need to be on the up and up. Anyways, a few nights ago she was out to dinner with a friend. Somehow they got to talking about my work. The friend was asking why I have 2 phones. She now has it convinced I am cheating. My girlfriend has been cheated on in the past, so it is a trigger. She came home and asked to look at it just to put her mind at ease. I told her no. My personal phone, go to town. Laptop, have at it. I don't care, as I have nothing to hide. But there are a ton of reasons that my work phone is a no-no. But now she thinks that I am being an a-hole. I don't think I am, but I also want some outside perspective from someone who doesn't live in HIPAA every day. Not the a-hole, I understand, like the insecurity and the worry and stuff. I've also been cheated on in the past. I feel like a lot of people have, and it sucks, and it really does change how you view things and change your trust for quite a long time, maybe even the rest of your life. But unfortunately that is something that you do need to deal with yourself. Like, your partner can help you through it and help you, try and gain that confidence and that security back, but you also need to do a big part of that yourself, and it's hard. But the top comment says, not the a-hole. She's asking you to break federal law for her insecurities. And then the comment underneath says, and even if he did, it still wouldn't be enough. It wouldn't ease her insecurities. Which, in my opinion, is kind of true, because underneath that, someone else said, if it's in her mind already, every little thing will convince her that the OP is cheating. She needs help. was engaging with these kinds of posts, I'd be mortified. I want to have kids, and I can't fathom our child one day seeing their dad engaging with these kinds of posts. And I don't like it, and I don't want it for me. In my mind, it's a respect thing, and it feels like boy behavior, not man behavior. I've asked him to please stop, and he initially agreed, but now he's backtracking, saying he doesn't want to hurt me, but also that it's a big ask of him to change the way he engages on social media, and that I'm being unreasonable. A big ask. I feel like it's the tiniest, easiest to avoid thing to give up, to make me feel more respected and loved. Not the a-hole at all. I have the exact same thought there. It's not a big ask at all. It's a very little tiny ask. You're asking him to stop commenting on test drops, like that's not something hard. And if he thinks that that's hard, then he's a certified gooner, and he's not just commenting because he's trying to be funny. He's, yeah, definitely not the a-hole. You have every right to feel disrespected, and you have every right to set that boundary and to explain that it doesn't make you feel good. And if he's not willing to respect that and put your feelings first, then he's really not the one, to be honest. Okay, this next one is by Rare Dash Education 9592. It's titled, "Am I the a-hole for telling my wife that joking about bombs and airport security is a stupid thing to do?" Again, this one feels like a no-brainer, but let's have a little read. A few days ago, my wife, 53 female, and I, 55 male, were flying out of town to attend my sister's wedding. We got to the airport a few hours earlier, so we had dinner and a couple of drinks before heading through security. I went through without any issues, but my wife was stopped so that they could double check her bag. Everything was fine. Afterwards, I said something like, "I wonder what they saw in there." And she replied, "It's not like I have a bomb," while we were standing in the security area. I was honestly shocked. Once we found a seat, I asked her why she would say that, especially in an airport. I told her that joking about bombs and security is a huge no-no. She said she was just joking and it wasn't a big deal. I strongly disagree and said it was absolutely a big deal, and that people have been arrested for making comments like that in airports. It turned into a heated argument in the departure lounge, and she eventually walked away from me, and we boarded separately. The next day we talked and agreed not to let it ruin the wedding weekend. After we got home, she sat me down and asked if I had noticed she'd been very quiet. I said yes and no. I knew something was off, but I wasn't sure what. She told me she didn't appreciate the way I spoke to her at the airport, and that it affected how she felt towards me. I explained that my reaction was because I was genuinely shocked and concerned about what she said. It wasn't about trying to belittle her, it was about the seriousness of the situation. We talked it through and I think we resolved it, but things still feel a bit awkward. Like tonight we were watching a regular TV show and she said she was bored, got up and went to bed. So am I the a-hole for even bringing it up in the first place? security and stuff, especially at airports, considering, you know, what's happened in the past. However, I mean, on the odd chance that she didn't realise, I mean, some people are just a bit clueless. It's still good that you've had the conversation with her, because she needs to know that it's not an appropriate or okay thing to say in public, and that it can have massive consequences. One thing that I do like about it, though, is that she came forward and said that the comment had been bothering her afterwards, like once they got home. At least she was communicating in that respect, but I feel like she might be lingering on it a bit too much, like being a bit too angry at him, since the vibe is still a bit unsettled. Apparently, like, it's not like he was mean about it, it was just like informative in the way, like, that's not something you say, please don't say that. Yeah. Okay, this next one is by OK-Ninja-3499. Hello, I, female 19, I've been dating my boyfriend, male 20, for a bit over 2 years. Recently we talked about moving in together. However, his mum has been dating a guy who's allergic to cats. Severe allergy. He gets bedridden, and over the last few months it's been getting worse. I have had my cat, female 3, for 3 years, and she's really important to me, and I have a responsibility to her. Well, his mum asked me if I could consider giving my cat away. My mum doesn't live far away, and they're suggesting that I give her to my mum. My mum has a dog, and they do not get along well. When my boyfriend suggested it the first time, I was livid. I said no. He told me that if I have a cat, then we can't move in together, because then he can't visit his mum. I told him that I don't want to move in together then, because this means we as people are not ready. However, 2 days ago he brought it up again, and I once again told him no. I can tell that he somewhat thinks I'm selfish, and a few of our friends have told me I am being stubborn. So am I the a-hole? No, absolutely not. This is the type of thing I would break up with somebody over, because if he is that set on not having the cat, because it means he can't visit his mum, and you are set on having the cat because it's your cat, why on earth would you get rid of your cat? Like you said, you love it. When you get a pet, you have a responsibility to uphold. It's just unfortunately not going to work out. It's one of those things, like, it just doesn't align, and it's not going to work unless one person buckles, and it doesn't seem like either of you want to. So it'll make you miserable to stay together, because one person will have to do something, like sacrifice something. Him being the visits with his mom, and you being your pet. So, as harsh as it is, I do think the best thing to do is break up or keep the cat, and don't move in together until either if her mum and the boyfriend end up breaking up, this was going on, I was also making preparations to go on deployment, such as setting up a power of attorney, establishing a joint bank account, and creating an emergency fund for while I am away. So by the time I left for deployment, I was pretty low on liquid cash. Fast forward a couple of months with no contact, I pull in for the first time and start catching up with her. She tells me all kinds of stories about how the neighbors have been super annoying, how they don't take out the trash bin, how they have weird hours, how they are noisy at night, and how there are constantly new guests being invited over by the lady in the lower unit to spend the night. This was apparently a build-up, because a few days later she informed me that she had signed the final closing paperwork for a little townhouse. I immediately had several questions, such as, but not limited to, am I going to be paying rent for a little duplex, and we live in this townhouse? Why didn't you talk to me about buying a new place? When are you going to move? Is there a mortgage on the new house? How much is the HOA? To which I was largely either ignored or told to mind my own business. That is your business though, oh my goodness. I have tried to be optimistic about this unexpected turn of events, however this has become very frustrating for me. While I am away, I can sometimes get email communication, and she did not even mention the home buying process once while I was out of contact. I have never been too connected with her personal finances, but although I know she doesn't have a mortgage, she refuses to tell me if the house was bought in her name or in her parents' name, / how much of her money she used to buy the place, or how much the place was. She has even suggested to me that she might not be comfortable having me in the townhouse with her until we are married, because it's embarrassing for her to live in the same house as a man she isn't married to. Oh my god. So right now I'm still paying rent for my duplex, a large allowance to her monthly so she can buy food and whatever, and now I have financed for a new oven and decorations for the new townhouse. The proposed plan right now is for me to get a deployment letter to try and take advantage of the Civil Service Members Relief Act to break my lease early. But she isn't even giving me a straight answer on if she will let me live with her in the new place. And when I try to press the subject, she gets overwhelmed and accuses me of not supporting her and not validating all the hard work she is doing to make the new place livable. For context, our relationship has never been ideal. We have had large fights that could have ended the whole relationship, and both of us have done hurtful things to the other in the past, which is part of the reason why I have delayed marriage. Mostly to see if we can work through our problems. But I am now feeling like she is making moves to push me away, and that she may be preparing me for a breakup, but keeping me around to collect a steady paycheck. I finance her moves / renovations. But on the other hand, we still have good moments together and laugh. We are still doing long distance dating, like watch movies through Zoom and eating together. We still talk about the future together and how the little garden is gonna be so pretty, or how she wants pets in a fish tank. So maybe I'm overreacting. After all, I still love her enough to have gotten engaged to her. I am still away from home, so my problem is further exacerbated. is worried that if I overreact, they could be throwing away this relationship. I'm glad they said that, because even before they said it, I was kind of thinking that it feels like the girlfriend, the fiance, was kind of trying to distance herself and slowly break things off, you know, like exactly what he said. Slowly distance herself while also still cashing in to make her life easier, to make her move and change easier, you know. That is just the vibes that I personally get from it, though. Maybe I'm wrong. Hopefully I am wrong, because that would suck. But that is what I feel like is going on. So I personally would probably break things off, because with all the big fights they've had in the past, it just feels like they probably aren't meant for each other, and they could be happier with other people. Especially the fact that she doesn't want him to live with her. That definitely feels like, you know. Yeah. Okay. We're gonna do one more. This one's a bit of a long one. Okay. It's by CFS _recovery _journey. It's titled, "Am I the a-hole for thinking about divorcing my husband due to his family?" Sorry, this is a long one. The backstory: I, 42 female, and husband 49 male, DH, have been together for 22 years, except for his family. I think we get on very well. Our values are similar and he makes me happy. When we first met, his parents were desperate for grandchildren and were disappointed, as I was 7 years younger than their son, and I have a career I love and would not be settling down as a housewife ever, or producing grandchildren ASAP. When our first son, 15 male, first arrived, after a week of labour followed by emergency C-section and a week of an ICU stay for our baby boy, my mother-in-law told me I looked so big she was surprised another baby was not still in there. Oh my god. Yikes. From that moment on, my mother-in-law pushed boundaries and would not respect me as a parent. She tried to force me to give just water to the baby at less than 3 months old because she wanted to hold him. He was sick and fussy for his mum, so I reduced contact to once every couple of months. Oh my god. That's my worst nightmare, mother-in-law like that. When baby boy 2, 13 male, arrived, things did not improve. His first Christmas, we planned to be at home and had an open invite for any family who wanted to come. Mother-in-law wanted to host Christmas, so turned down the invite. 1 week before Christmas, during our visit, the mother-in-law, they wanted baby boy 1 to open the Christmas gift they had got for him. Me and my partner had agreed this should not happen, as we felt it took a little magic out of the coming downstairs on Christmas morning to see all of the gifts under the tree and have one special day. Mother-in-law gave baby boy 1 his gift just as we were leaving and tried to get him to open it. I removed the gift and repeated our boundary. The corral started and my partner went to comfort mother-in-law, while the father-in-law and brother-in-law proceeded to yell at me and berate me for being a horrible person, for making my mother-in-law cry. My partner changed his mind as his mum was upset and proceeded to gang up on me with his family. I still did not back down and we left. Mother-in-law kept the boys' Christmas presents. My partner proceeded to be unkind for the 3-hour drive several hours after, as I had caused his mum to cry. It was one horrible Christmas, questioning if I had married the wrong person. My partner eventually apologized, and mother-in-law and father-in-law meet us in the new year to give their Christmas gifts to the babies, but with no apology to me for their behavior and boundary stomping. I have since maintained a polite but distant relationship with mother-in-law and father-in-law. The next time we met up, we went for a day out where father-in-law accidentally spilled boiling tea over baby boy one. Luckily, as we were at an event, they had a paramedic to treat the burn that covered his arm, chest and leg. After around 2 hours of having burn treatment supplied, they didn't even acknowledge that anything had happened. Oh my god, not even a sorry to the baby. They were too concerned that the shop they wanted to visit would now be closed due to the delay for his treatment. My partner still could not see a problem with his parents' behavior, but maybe that was because it was me holding the baby as he cried in pain while the burn treatment was applied. Luckily, he was left with no physical scarring, but he can still remember the pain almost 12 years later. When my sister-in-law finally had a baby, she's a spoiled brat, I thought, problems were sorted. Unfortunately, I was very wrong. The sister's baby was 3.5 years younger than our first, and less than a year and a half younger than our second. The moment sister's baby could want and scream for things about 1 year old, the obvious favoritism started. She would see a toy one of my children had and would point and scream. Mother and father-in-law would take the toy and give it to her. It didn't matter what the toy was, if it was their toy from home. Anything she wanted was given. Anything he wanted, was given to him by mother and father-in-law. My partner stood back and let it happen. Again, I reduced contact further in a bid to protect my boys, but this ended up being reduced to 3 to 4 times a year for 2 to 3 days at a time. From the point sister's baby could speak, things got even worse. He would not just demand toys, but insist my boys do whatever he wanted. Play chase, let him win games, hand over whatever they had. Mother and father-in-law tried to enforce this whenever I was not, basically hovering over the boys to protect them. It felt like I could not even take a bathroom break when they were around. It was so bad that when the sister's baby got a little brother, neglected child, we were out for a meal. Neglected child was about 8 months old. Sister's baby, 1, decided he wanted a neglected child's baby toy. Mother-in-law took the baby toy from him and gave it to the older, stating the neglected child needed to learn how to share. No one corrected mother-in-law, as my whole family-in-law saw it as normal. Clearly my boys felt sorry for a neglected child and included him in their games and enjoyed spending time with him. This upset the in-laws and the first baby. The first baby is going to be called SB, okay? Like sister's baby. So SB continued to be spoiled and in-laws resorted to trying when I was not around, such as bathroom breaks and prepping food, to punish my children if they didn't comply with whatever SB wanted. Unsurprisingly, my children don't like mother or father-in-law, but as SB has grown up and become less bratty, they have started to include him in some things, but the moment he is bratty, they exclude him again. Mother-in-law seems to now hate my boys and will do anything possible to make them unhappy when we visit, complaining about them to my partner while the boys are there, belittling them, picking on them, even telling baby boy 2 was Christmas. Brother-in-law now has a 6-month-old baby, little baby, LB. And during the visit, my large but very gentle dog sniffed the baby toy that LB had dropped on the floor. Brother-in-law proceeded, without warning or words, to hit my dog hard 3 times. My dog ran under the table to me, which was the only reason brother-in-law stopped hitting him. My partner told brother-in-law to stop, but I'm not sure he would have. I was just in shock. I was just shocked into silence, as I couldn't believe someone could behave like that. Brother-in-law continues as if nothing had happened, no recognition of what he had done. I asked my partner to leave. I didn't feel happy staying in the same house as someone who could violently explode and attack an animal for no reason. My partner ignored me and would not leave. I arranged to be away from brother-in-law with my children and dog for the day, so I could feel safe. On the return to the house, I shut the dog in the sitting room, only safe room my dog was allowed in the house, with me and my first baby, and fell asleep. I have CFS/ME and I was exhausted. Mother and father-in-law come in the room and proceed to be noisy, and baby boy 1 asks them to be considerate and not wake me up. This sets off mother-in-law, and she states that's her problem, and she could have gone upstairs. This upset my son, and he was rude to my mother-in-law. I got woken up as my partner came in the room but didn't intervene. I took my son up to the bedroom so he could calm down and tell me what happened. I was very upset by this point. I should have added that the in-laws have a large house with several rooms with comfortable seating, but they are open plan and don't have a door like the sitting room. After baby boy 1 told me and his dad what happened, I asked to leave again, as not only did I feel my dog was not safe, but I also felt my in-law should have had a little more compassion and not spoken to my son in that way. My partner ignored that request to leave again and made my son apologize to his parents for being rude to them. The whole in-law family acted as if nothing had happened and this was any other evening. Lucky we had planned to leave the next morning, so it almost felt like an escape. I can drive, and in hindsight I should have just packed for me and the children and dog and just left. My partner seemed shocked when I asked for a separation due to his lack of care, love and consideration for the children, me and the dog when it relates to his family. So am I the a-hole for wanting a separation? Have I overreacted? Okay, so there's a few edits that they said they needed to add some clarification that I'm going to sum up in shorter words. The reason she hasn't left the partner previously is because she didn't want to give the in-laws a chance to be around her kids without her there to stick up for them. Since Christmas, she said that they're gonna stick to no contact with the in-laws. The children love their dad and see what type of people the in-laws are. The dog being hit was the first occurrence and the last time. She's never let the dog around them since. The boiling tea accident was 100% an accident. It wasn't like malicious. She explains how it was an accident and stuff. And then an update, they will stay married, but the following things will happen. No contact for the children, me or the dog with any of his family. He will go to counselling and work on himself before a marriage will return to anything other than a marriage in name. This is something he is willing and wants to do. The reasons, and I have been honest with him and explained this to him too. I want to protect our children from his family. I love our children and a divorce would hurt them. A stable family is something the children need. boss, they could have a lot more influence and step in